Bring back my girls. Oh. I think I can close this one. Yeah. Okay. I gotta move Red. He's in the way. Bring back my girls. Where's friends? Friends? Where are friends? There's friends. Friends. Bring back my girls. Excuse me. Sophie, thank you so much for 38 months in a freaking row. Why didn't your melons go through? Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Gary?
What do you mean, Swaffy?
What's Fluffy saying? What's...
I don't know. The alert showed up on my end.
I just found a funny TikTok I'm going to send you.
Uh-oh. What? Whoa.
Maybe giggle. I was watching it while I pissed. I, like most people...
How did you do that?
Go to the bathroom on TikTok. What?
How did you pee and watch on your phone at the same time?
I'm so glad my stream is still muted. What do you mean? You think I need, what, 2 hands in to look to piss?
I mean, maybe?
Okay, I don't...
Do you sit down?
I don't... No.
I mean, no judgment if you do.
No, I'm just here for efficiency. I can't piss efficiently if I take the time to sit.
I mean, you're less likely to piss everywhere if you sit down.
Sacrifices must be made. Look, I don't know what you do at home with Babe, but next time Babe has to go take a piss,
go watch him.
Watch.
Babe,
take a piss and you know what?
Babe, do you use 2 hands to pee? You use no hands?
Yeah, sometimes you can go no hands, but when I'm not looking because I'm on my phone, you gotta
only use
one
hand to pee. Oh, all right. He only uses 1 hand to pee.
Yeah, you don't need more than 1. What the fuck do you think we do with 2? You
I
gotta like gorilla grip
know.
that shit like it's a hose?
No.
Like if
I
we
mean,
don't grab it with 2 hands.
I mean, I figure you just pinch it between the finger and the thumb, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Sometimes you could do like a cigarette style.
Oh my god!
I didn't hear my stream.
That would be such a funny thing to put on Twitter. Pull. Do you hold it like a cigarette or do you do it like a pinch?
Oh shit! It's gonna be so funny out of context.
Zero context.
Zero context. All they heard is, do you pinch it or do you like a cigarette? I Susabii. Oh shit! Why are you so big? I can't say that after the conversation.
You tell yourself that every time.
No, I'm like, get bigger!
Get bigger! Oh my god. It's crazy. Oh shit. That was funny.
Oh my god.
Alright. Today, chat, we're playing Infinite Craft. I've never played before.
I played when it was new.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing whatsoever. I haven't even touched it, not even once.
This is great. It's gonna be balanced.
I didn't even practice after we talked about this is what we're gonna do.
I refuse to practice, but that's because I watched YouTube videos and I feel like practicing I would actually remember how to do shit. I didn't want to do that. I feel like
I didn't watch videos either. I just watched that one you sent me.
I don't even know if I made it through all that one. Trying to find you.
I don't think I did
Why?
either because I was at work.
There you are. I'm trying to find you on my so I can see yours. Yeah. Okay. Infinite craft.
Infinite
Base
craft.
rules. Base rules of Incraft.
N
Infinite
N
craft.
N N N N
Basic
N.
rule of Infinite craft. You take a word. You take another word. You
Uh-huh.
shove the words together, aka you
Yeah.
drag and drop click, whatever
Yeah.
the fuck it is.
Yeah. Okay.
And it becomes a new word.
Right.
And you keep combining words till you find all the words.
And sometimes you think two things are gonna make one thing, but then they make something else, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like a popular there's holes, like the vampire hole, which is
I
when
saw
you
that.
get the vampire hole, you're basically stuck between vampires and Twilight.
And everything is vampire or Twilight.
Yeah, you're never getting out of it. That's it. Backtrack.
So does it automatically save the new things you discover to the
Yeah,
right?
all the words that you discover to the right. That's why there's like a search bar on the bottom.
Okay. All right.
And for us, we're doing a lockout bingo.
Bingo.
So the goal there is we have to be the first one between the two of us to get 5 words. And all you gotta do is just click on one of the words once you get it,
Oh, okay.
and I win.
And you win, probably.
This is a lockout bingo, so it's not like get 3 in a row. This is first to 5.
Oh, all right.
Yup.
And it's gonna
And
automatically generate words, right?
we can have it do that, or we can come up with some ourselves. We do whatever we feel like. I
No,
think
we
it'd be
just
funny if we came out with a few.
okay.
I'll come up with 4, and because you're the guest and haven't played at all, you can come up with 5 words. Like any word.
Any word.
Like any words. Like I'm not
Okay.
kidding.
Robot.
Uh,
Or wait, not robot. Droid would be better.
what is doing?
Wait.
Droid's a good one because it's not
Wait, can you
exactly
make
robot.
Star Wars? Is that
Oh
something
yeah,
you can make?
probably. I'd be amazed if you
Ooh,
couldn't. And
right?
I'll put droid here. I'm writing it in a text thing. I'll update the after
Should we do something holiday themed because it's Christmas is coming?
like that. I like that. Um, wreath. I feel like you can't. You will never find wreath.
That might
Feels
be
like that would
hard.
be hard. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's 3.
Uh what about Santa?
Santa.
It
Santa's
seems it
pretty
seems
good.
like specific types of people are hard to find. Like
I
it took them
think.
forever to find girl to make girlfriend.
Okay, that's just that's a that problem.
They kept getting lesbian. That was so funny. I was dying. And then Point Girl kept getting pregnant teenager. Oh my god. I was dying laughing. I was like watching that at work. I had no clients. I was just cracking up in the nail room by myself.
It was good. It was good. You know what? I'm throwing out nails. 'Cause you do nails.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
What about um t-shirt?
T-shirt. Is that because I do T-shirt?
Yeah, because you do
Yeah, I do.
t-shirt.
I do T-shirt.
Red do t-shirt.
T-shirt.
T-shirt. How many do we need still?
1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 3.
Um, excuse me.
Burp. I got it.
Wait, you think that's one?
Two
Wait.
more. All right.
We should. What if one square is fox or bunny? Like you get one or the
Fox
other.
or bunny. Okay.
Yeah.
Good one.
And then we have one more.
One more.
Anime.
Anime. Now, the word anime or specific show anime?
The word anime.
The word anime.
Or do you want to pick a specific anime?
I think a specific anime would be a lot harder. I think anime can get actually easily. I'll just type anime show and it can just be any anime.
Okay.
Anime or any anime. Type that.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And
I guess so. And me espresso.
Card look good for you?
I don't know. I can't see it.
Did not. Did it update for you? Why does it not look like it updated?
Oh, it did. Oh, there it went. It updated now.
Cool.
It's really little on my stream. I mean, it's probably not little for. It's probably not little for anybody watching. It's small for me in OBS.
It's small on the phone, but like phone.
Yeah, cause phone. My phone is my camera, so I can't use phone. And my iPad's dead. That would have been a good idea to use my iPad.
My phone will die. It's at like 26%, so that's fun.
Okay.
You ready?
I don't know. I guess.
Yeah. I feel like we gotta bring out. I don't have a speedrun timer thing, so I'm just.
I mean, I'm not really worried about time because it's gonna take forever.
Oh no, that's just for visual appearance.
Oh yeah, I don't care.
No. All right.
Excuse me.
Gross.
I'm sorry. I'm drinking pop. It makes me burp.
You ready?
Sure.
Go.
Oh.
See, I'm gonna mind these two. That makes a thing. I think that. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to do.
Just drag shit.
Just
drag a bunch of shit.
drag. Oh, cool. What happens if I do that? What happens if I do this? Whoa.
I feel like there's a. Oh. What did I just do?
What are you barking at? Lola just randomly barked.
Oh yeah, if you shift click, it will duplicate the mouse.
Shift click. Oh. Boulder.
Oh, that right.
Is that a boulder?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. What if I do that? Whoa! 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 I forgot the words we were making. I was just doing shit.
I'm just getting the same thing a lot.
I got vodka.
How the hell did you get? How did you do that?
I got Putin.
Putin.
What? Okay. Ooh.
Okay.
Oh. Actually. Oh. What if I do that? Okay.
Everything's volcano.
Yeah, I'm stuck in like a volcano hole right now. I'm gonna. That did that. That. Okay.
Nice.
I got tobacco. What if I combine
Hi,
tobacco with
Stitch.
it? You guys, damn! Like it's happening. We're trying to make words really fast. I'm just trying to do this. No, that.
Oh,
No.
okay.
How do you get to people again? I got umbrella.
I
That
don't know.
okay. Okay. Game, you could have. Okay. I don't know what I'm making. Nope.
I just keep making the same thing over and over. I'm so confused. Everything's volcano. Why?
Okay, what if I do you? Shit. Okay, give me that back. That? No.
Why is everything volcano?
I know, I'm so tired of volcano here. Oh my god, fuck off. Oh! Oh. Oh, wait. Oh.
Everything. What if I...
No, okay, that's not
Oh!
all. Oh!
I forgot all the words I'm supposed to be getting.
I know, right? Oh. I'm just trying to get like a bit. I got Poseidon. I got fish. I got.
Fish? Oh.
Oh, hell yeah. Point of that was. Okay. Oh. No, it's just what's that again?
I just have a bunch of natural disasters.
I do too. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Um.
Oh.
Okay.
I
No, go
don't
back to that.
know.
That. Okay. About that. Interesting. Already got a fox, so that's good for you. I can't remember shit
I don't
for
know
this.
how to do... I don't know how to... This is my first time ever even looking at this game, Stitch.
I'm just trying shit to unlock a lot of shit.
I don't believe you, Stygian.
I
I
got
don't
that
believe
commit.
you for a second.
I got a Muppet. I got Elmo. What the fuck is that? Okay. Okay. All right. All
Okay,
right.
I'm
I
so
I'm
confused.
somewhat.
I don't know what I'm doing. I just keep coming. I just keep hitting walls.
Oh. Okay. Not what I meant to do, but maybe a way to go. Oh. Oh. Okay. Hold on. Got something going on here. Got this shit. Okay. Not
What if
exactly what
I
I meant.
do this and
That makes sense.
it looks like
I
a
got a.
little poop?
Okay. I got. I got a Vulcan.
A Vulcan?
Yeah.
You mean like in Star Trek?
Yeah.
If that somehow leads you to Star Wars, I'm gonna be a little pissed off.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Okay, okay, wait. That's how I got there in the first. Okay, that didn't. Okay, I want to. Oh, that's what I was looking for before. I got the wrong one.
What if I do a house in... Oh.
That.
House in storm equal tornado.
You, not you, not you. Where is?
Wait, how do I get lightning?
You got lightning?
No, I said, how do I get lightning? I have storm.
I thought I already did that one. Oh, I didn't. Right. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. All right. All right. No, I didn't want that. That could be something cool. Okay.
You can't combine those. Okay, weird.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you can't combine words. Uh. Okay. I've gotten prince, princess, and king so far. It doesn't help me at all, but I think I have an idea. I think I have an. I'm getting somewhere.
I just have the weirdest shit. I don't know how it's gonna lead me to anything. I need to get like plants. How do I get plants?
Okay, not what I was going for there. Let's forgot. Okay. Not what I meant to. I made an Ewok. I made an Ewok. Wait,
No
that's huge.
way! No, you didn't!
Okay. All right. I gotta. What if I do that? Oh, I think this leads to something.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Okay. I made Jabba.
I got
I made
Buddha.
Hut. I made Jabba and then I made Hut.
I have all these things associated with
Fuck.
Japan, but not
I made
anime.
Jabba the Hutt. I made Chewbacca. I don't think that's a That might be. I made a Wookiee.
That's my cat. A
I
Wookiee.
made Wookiee. I made Death Star.
You have everything except the word Star Wars.
Pretty much.
Oh.
Clearing out my shit. Oh. Makes. No. Okay. No, that's not what I wanted.
Okay,
Well, that is
everything's
cool.
mermaid now.
Well, you're gonna first.
Okay.
I made Zombie Tornado.
Okay.
I made Chewbacca Tornado. Flat, but what the fuck? Zombie Chewbacca? How? Yeah, get on my level.
Zombie Chewbacca. I have
Zombie
enough.
Kermit. I'm just collecting zombies now.
I don't have anything that's related to what we're looking for.
Or the Millennium Falcon? Kashyyyk. Oh, that's a planet in Star Wars, isn't it? What if I go that plus that? That made a Wookiee. That made a different Wookiee. I have two Wookiees.
Wookiee.
Okay. Zombie Han Solo. Add that to my collection of zombies.
Flying soup. Flying pot. Wait. I got Aladdin.
You got Aladdin. What the fuck? Okay.
Oh, I got
Oh,
lightning. Wait.
You got lightning. Shit.
I can't remember why I wanted it. Oh, I remember why.
I'm just doing random shit. There was no thought. I'm gonna get rid of
I
some of my
mean,
shit.
same. I'm just
Hey, I
trying
made a
to.
first discovery. Oh
Oh.
yeah. So first discoveries are you're the first one to like find a word. I have like 100 over 100 first discoveries because I found a weird name with numbers next to it, so I just grinded that for like half an hour.
Oh.
But it was funny that I did it one. Or that Wookie cookie. And I would make zombie Kermit Duo. Yeah, dude. Okay. No. I need like I need people.
I made God.
You made God? Fuck. I don't know. Okay, wait. Something. Okay. Um. Okay. If I do that was that. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Everything's Buddha.
Everything is Buddha.
Everything is Buddha.
I mean, good. This got me nowhere after a second. Yeah, already there. Okay.
Um.
Huh.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Found a new element. Hey. Uh, this is getting shit. Okay. No. I need to work with this because I know this can get me somewhere. Okay. Yep. How? No, lost it. Ah! I did it! Okay, I'm getting somewhere. I hope you know this.
I have a collection of made up creatures.
I have rice. But you know what rice puts me close to, right?
Anime?
Anime.
I mean, I had a couple where I
Well,
thought it made me close to anime too, but it doesn't.
any anime. No, Stitch, why'd you have to get in Total War? Total War Warhammer 3. You're blocking my search bar. He's throwing my games. Nope. Cry about it. I am. Did you not hear me? I did right.
What? How is that vampire?
On Megalodon. To do.
Oh.
Only that. There's. Oh wait, no, I have it. Oh, that's right. I was trying to get to this. Oh, I got to Japan. Okay. Okay. All right.
The fuck? This game is crazy.
Oh my god, I totally forgot I was going for Star Wars at some point. It's just I made it to Japan and what if I do like okay. Not what I'm okay. Yeah, make actually.
Do, 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 do.
Let's just work. Ah shit. Lost Japan. Okay.
Dragon?
Dragon.
Snowman. Somebody went from dragon to snowman. Where is... Yeah.
Bullshit. I got Sharkles. Dear God, he's out here making slurs. No, wait. I,
Oh.
I got James Bond. I got 007. What am I doing? Okay, wait, no. I'm back to. I just get distracted.
Right?
Okay. This should make sense. Fuck. Wait.
Huh.
Oh.
Some of these are really weird.
Oh, I got to anime. I got to anime. I got to Gundam. Fuck. Otaku. Fuck.
That's what you are.
I got Pokemon. That's an anime, right?
Oh, yes. You win.
Yeah.
You win one.
I won. I forgot. So was Gundam didn't feel specific enough.
What is the thing?
And there's squirrel. What is forest with Pokemon? Okay, I'm getting
I got
distracted.
Sharknado. What the fuck? Oh yeah, Gundam technically is also an anime. Isn't just Gundam is short for the actual? Isn't it actually Gundam Wing or something?
I don't.
I remember this game now. I wasn't sure what Infinite Craft was when I saw the notice pop up. Oh yeah, it's this. Whatever the hell this is.
And I'm winning.
I've made a few animals, but I can't figure out how to get a bunny or.
I've made frog. I think that's my.
Apparently, a hippo and a flower is a hippie.
You almost get. How did I get animal? I made planet.
I made Ariel.
I got the moon.
That's
There are
no
cows.
moon.
There's a cows on. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let me get rid of my Japan. Okay, all right. What's my
Shark baby. Baby shark do 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 do. Baby shark do 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 do.
okay? I made Star Wars.
No! Sucker?
I'm killing it. I'm
You're
nowhere close to
killing it.
anything else.
You had to work really hard for that Star Wars.
That Star Wars I left like 20 minutes ago. The game keeps crashing. Stop it! It's blocking my shit.
Baby fairy.
You-
Oh, okay.
What are you? This goes could get
Baby.
destroyed. Maybe if I go. Oh, okay. What are you? You.
Peter
No.
Pan.
Oh, fudge. Hi, coffee.
Hi, Coffee.
And she in a game that I've played a shit ton of, and I've played it like an hour or two when it came out. Okay, I did not play a shit ton.
Flying fish. It's alright. I knew going in that I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It's fine.
Huh. I made Darth Vader. I dream I'm gonna go eat Megan's this morning. Oh, poor
Oh,
coffee.
I'm sorry, Coffee.
Oh, and poor little big baby's got a big little migraine. Wah.
Batnado! Okay, now I'm down. Let's start from here.
I see you got this. You can be a stinker. That's crazy.
Monster. Hydra. Oh, that's no fun.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, what if I do that? Oh. What am I going for again? Oh yeah, droid. I have like robots and
I have so many animals that I can't get a fight. I can't beat him. He's already ahead of me by 2. Oh, did you mark the board?
yeah.
Oh, it's not showing up on my thing. Why is that? Is it showing up on here? Yeah, it shows up there. Oh, it's because I have to open it and let it refresh or something.
No, I already
Gotta
had
load.
that. I got fucking Yoda. I'm just in a Star Wars hole, but honestly, it's kind of fun. I got Jedi.
Baby shark, do 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 do. Baby shark, do 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 do. Apparently, shark baby and baby shark are different.
Clown. I got Kith. Kith the Jedi. I got the Force. What the fuck? Huh. That might help. Okay.
Some of these are crazy, dude. I combined Metropolis with Narcissist and I got Superman.
What?
Oh my god. Narcissus. Clark Kent.
Oh. Oops.
Oh, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, guys. Everything's Superman now. Okay.
Made Superman.
Everything is Superman.
Okay. Okay. I was somewhere. Oh, that gives me Earth. I don't want Earth. I want. Oh, I got a star! Wait, I don't need that anymore. I already have Star Wars. Fuck. Shit. Okay. Alright, time to clean up my shit. Just stuff. Oh my gosh. I got Werefrog.
Werefrog.
I got Unicron from
Tinkerbell and Superman is the Green Lantern.
Galactus. How the Death Solo? Death Duo? Wait a second. Death Trio? Death Quartet? Death Quintet? Death Sextet? Alright, hold on. I'm on an adventure. I'm just finding all the deaths. Okay, it stops at like Nonet. Whatever a Nonet is. I just found death.
Death.
Oh, I lost my death. I'm getting Star Wars movies now, which is a little. The Last Chewbacca.
The last Chewbacca.
Oh, I just have a bunch of this. Oh. Stop.
Okay.
Okay. What am I doing again? Ah,
I don't know.
this. Okay.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's that. Ah, ew, kill him.
Pyramid. Oasis. Pyramid.
I could go for Santa. If I go with. Okay, I already had that. Okay.
I feel like my brain is just a pile of gunk right now.
Like I'm about to remake Igloo. Yep. Okay. Oh, wait. I have you.
Where is?
Nope. Okay. Okay, I got Vikings. Okay, that's just not gonna take me a 1, but it is funny. That was Igloo, right? I feel like that was close. Okay, kind of right. No. Okay.
Sandman. Bird. Bird.
No.
No. Bird.
Oh yeah, I forget. I switched to Santa, but I forget. Why not?
Oh. Owl.
What the fuck is that? I found Jork.
The hell's a jork?
I don't know. BJORK.
Drunk. Like that Clark Kent and Nymph made Superman, right?
Oh,
Well,
oh,
no,
oh, this.
Clark Kent and
Okay.
no, I got Clark Kent from Superman actually.
Wait, I bet if I take this and this. Fuck!
Alcohol.
Oh, maybe that.
What if I combine this with this? Hangover.
Okay, it's not. Get out of here.
Hoot.
Shit, what happened to my. Some of that, right? Oh, yeah. What about that? Oh, god
Truth.
damn it. I'm stuck in like a penguin hole. This is not gonna help.
I don't know what's happening. Ice King. Yin Yang King.
Everything just gives me penguin when I try. Oh, that's because I'm the wrong way. I'm trying to look for a Santa in Antarctica.
Oh. Wish.
That's not the right iceberg. Wrong iceberg. Fuck. Okay. No, I got this. I can make this work. I got this. I got this. Because I have this, and I bet if I can find this, fucking penguins.
Ice
Should have.
cream.
I
Snow.
dare not. Okay, wait. Fucking penguins.
Oh, that's not what I thought that would do.
Oh, oh! I got Santa!
No! Damn it!
I was like winging this shit. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, my phone's
There
gonna die.
it is.
What's left? Burp? Droid? Oh, wreath. I bet I can get wreath. Well, that didn't work. Oh?
Why is everything snowman?
Oh, I got kiss again. You kiss the plant. You got a rose. That makes sense. Got a thorn? I got love. What if you love Santa? This was more Christmas. I got present. I got mistletoe. I got kiss again. shit. Okay.
Um,
Oh yeah, I got to Christmas with like ice and tree, and then I combined Kinged with Christmas, and I got Santa.
how did you get Christmas?
Like it was ice with tree, I think, something like that.
I can't get any plants. I keep getting like gods and superheroes.
I wish I could get a living being. All I got is Santa. Might work, but
Well, I don't think I'm gonna win.
I have a heart. What if we give Santa a heart? It's just more love. Found a romance.
Berserker! I finally got an anime.
Hey!
It's not spelled the same, but it's fine. Pretty sure the
I
anime is
finally
with a
got it.
Z, but that's okay.
Is it?
I don't know.
No. Okay.
Who fucking knows?
I wouldn't. I have no damn clue. Okay, I have Christmas. I have mistletoe. What could I use to get to wreath? Ooh. Okay, I should have saw that one coming. Okay.
Tree. Tree.
Fuck.
Tree? No. Tree.
Yeah. All right, got that back. Good to you.
Eve?
What if we make a rainbow Christmas? Okay, should have seen that coming.
I can't
What if
seem to combine
Santa?
rainbow with anything earlier. It like didn't go with anything. Rainbow tree.
Hey, got a unicorn.
I got a unicorn a while ago.
Okay, well, I got Santa and Santa Claus. That's ironic.
Dang.
Oh,
Bah.
I have two different spellings of reindeer, which I
That's
think is really
funny.
funny. I realized now the first one was wrong. Okay, that's a Christmas tree.
I combined Noah with Egyptian and I got Moses.
Crazy.
That's crazy. What is
I
this
feel like
game? What is this game? Thor and Moses make Odin or something. What
Thor
was it?
and Moses. How the
Wait,
fuck?
Thor and Moses make Zeus. That's what it is.
We got Rich. I'm not gonna go Rich Frog. Is that just gonna be Prince again? God damn it! Everything with Frog makes Prince. It's really fucking annoying after a while. I combined lottery with destruction and got gambling. Destruction with rich is poor.
I got I got Jack Sparrow.
What the fuck? How did you get to the people universe? What
I
the
don't
fuck?
know.
I wish I could get a person. I got Santa and wine and drunk.
I'm totally off track from everything. Let's just say that.
Oh,
Philosopher's Stone.
I got ice cream. Philosopher's Stone.
Captain Hook.
Oh my god, I feel like because I can't find out how to get the people, I just gotta give up. And Wraith, I give up. So if you see, I don't know how you get to people. What does this make again? That makes that. That makes that. Oh, Okay.
Oh. I got Santa!
Yeah.
It's too late though, because you already got him. Dang it. I don't know how that happened. It didn't make sense. It was like Snowball and Chest made Santa somehow.
I made the Terminator.
Let's go. What
I
happens
also
if...
made a bunch of different versions of the Terminator, but I made Arnold Schwartz. I think that's his full name, but I'm not sure.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually how you spell his name though. I was just kind of staring at it like, how do you spell that?
It's
Oh,
Austrian.
hey, found Star Trek.
Okay, what happens when I combine Santa with different things?
Oh, I got Thor finally. I think I combined Thor and Star Trek. Star Thor. Okay, I didn't that one. I just got some Star. Okay, with a shot. Okay. I feel like to get the droid, I need to somehow combine. Now that's AI. Actually, that would be useful. Like robot and Star Wars, because they got all the droids. I wish I had like evil and robot. I feel like that would get me
I
there.
got Christmas. Poinsettia. Mistletoe.
Oh, I made Spock.
Which... Oh, okay, that was weird.
I made Spock Wars.
Spock Wars.
Cyborg. I found like Cyborg and I found a robot. I'm losing it over here. Wait, that just says that. That does that. Put on that one.
Christmas tree.
Hmm.
Wish I had a shape so I could say Christmas tree round. That would be a wreath. Christmas tree and Earth make pineapple.
Oh, I made Darth Maul now. I've made two different C3POs. No, yeah, that made that. That made that. Made Borg.
Borg.
Darth Borg.
I got Christmas tree. I'm so close.
For what, wreath?
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find out how to get the wreath.
Excuse me.
Mabs. Maybe if I just like do one of these.
Where's this Christmas tree?
Oh, I lost one of my words. Oh, whatever. Okay, that's a car. It's not really what I
Did
wanted.
you know that Snow White and Snow White make snowman?
No.
Yes. Oh, present.
I made a cyber car. I made a Tesla. Oh, not that.
Kiss.
Huh. I made two different lightsabers in the matter of 2 seconds.
Oh, well.
Sith. I already did that. Skynet. That's funny. Oh, back to Arnold Schwarzenegger. RoboCop, no. I found like Robo Vader. What the fuck's a Robo Vader?
I don't know.
I just want to find the word droid. Is there like another definition of the word droid like I can't think of? Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go crazy. I just want to find droid. Or burp. Or fox or bunny. Or...
Oh, I got grandma. Aw.
Oh, I made a black hole. Cool. I made a wormhole. Cool.
Grandma and gift equal Christmas.
Oh, I got time travel. What happens if I combine time travel with robot? It wouldn't be Terminator. Time travel with cyborg. Oh, time machine. Time paradox. I don't know where I'm going with any of this. God, everything just want to give you a fucking Terminator with time travel and robots. Go fucking figure. Ooh, time paradox volcano. Okay. Time tractor. Another expression. Hmm. Oh, I got dragon. What do we do? Dragon and robot. Mecha dragon. Time dragon.
That's
Bodied. Gotta
crazy.
that shit up. Is all. Oh, new first discovery. Time mecha salamander.
Everything equals divorce now.
Robot.
Oh, ad.
Tanker.
I can't, Stitch. I'm not smart enough for this game. Also,
It's
this
not
shit
big.
doesn't make any sense.
I got Skittles. What recommend Skittles with destruction?
Poison! Murder! Grandma! Step it up anyway. No, I don't know how. I like that wedding and Nirvana equal divorce. I'm trying to get wreath.
Rainbow. Oh.
Christmas murder equals Santa.
I made Thanos in the last Avenger. I made Iron Man. I'm just throwing shit out there.
Me too. Krampus! Need Krampus. Mirage.
Bigfoot. I think about
Kiss
Thorn
Aladdin.
and Yeti. Rainbow Thor. Bifrost.
Rainbow Thor.
Knight Rider.
Hawaii. What happens if I combine these? Oh.
Okay, I feel like okay. Forest. I have forest. I want
I got
animal.
planet. Oh.
It's a tree.
Santa lava volcano eruption.
Oh,
Everything goes back. Everything goes back to volcano.
I have 2 spellings of Pangea. What? How do I keep doing that?
Wait. pine tree.
Oh wait, do I have? No. If I put love and a tree, I get a heart. What if you heart a tree? You get love. If you tractor heart, I got rock. I got boulder.
I got those were like some of the first ones I got.
Well, we clearly didn't go the same ways. Okay.
No, we didn't at all.
God, what animals? How do you? What? I can't get to living shit. Like,
You just got Duckosaur? Oh my god. I got like reindeer. What happens if I combine a reindeer and a fish? Will I get more animals?
There's literally like, at some point, life. I got a leaf. Summon him. Seed, seed, and love.
Everything with reindeer equals Santa Claus.
Oh yeah. I think I would dub that the Santa hole. I got weed.
What kind
And
of
weed led
weed?
to marriage and divorce. And divorce and which led to sushi or fish for some reason. Family tree plus.
I got star. Gotta update this. There we go.
Got incense. Eh, new here.
Uh, grandfather paradox.
Fucking unicorn.
Wood.
Walk. No, not Ewoks. We're not Star Wars hole again. I feel like I just want to like restart my shit. Like that'll
I got
get me
Antarctica.
good.
Penguin. I finally got penguin.
Yeah, everything will lead back to penguin. I'll tell you that right now. Fucking. I don't. You know, did I do this and this? Okay, that is that.
Julius Caesar. Vicodin. Universe. Penguin. Everything just equals pineapple.
Fucking everything really likes to be a fucking volcano.
I know. It's like eventually everything just is volcano. Pine. Pine.
Yeah, I'm mad about.
Pine. I already have pine tree.
Oh. No, there's. How do you fucking get?
I can't get a wreath.
I get.
I think it's not possible.
Everything's possible. It's just a matter of how. Vicodin's crazy.
Vicodin is crazy.
What if I...
Right now, everything equals pineapple. Be nothing.
Should've...
Oh.
Yeah, I should have...
Big Bang. Antarctica, Ice Age. Mammoth. Mammoth chair.
Right.
Doctor Who. Doctor Hooves.
Oh, you know what? You have you. Okay. Kind of what I expected there.
Who's Princess Celestia?
My Little Pony.
Twilight Sparkle! I got Twilight Sparkle!
But
Oh,
you don't know
that's...
Princess Celestia? Shut up, you
I
fake fan.
forgot who she was.
She's the white pony,
Yeah,
the
I know.
white
I remember now.
alicorn.
I remember now.
I mean, I don't know what an alicorn is. I'm anyway.
Red Zabroni confirmed.
Just because I watched most of the episodes and know the entire story of My Little Pony Friendship and Magic does not make me a brony.
Yes, it does. There's
Oh, yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. I fucking binge watched that shit when it was on Netflix.
Because it was fire.
Did you know that a mammoth and a pineapple make a pina colada?
No. No, that's not how that works.
All right.
Cat, do you mind? I will beat you up. You will die. You wish to die? You dead. I chop. He's just gonna eat. I don't need two hands to this game anymore. No, I do, because I have to hold shift. Princess Leia plus fish. Jabba the Hutt. Yep.
Totally.
Okay. No, how do I have another Jabba the Hutt? I already had Jabba the Hutt. How many fucking Jabba the Hutts does one need?
Cryptid.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't realize I had the Pope.
And the Pope? God, how did you get the people?
I don't know. They just happened. I'm not getting the like connections happening.
I have knowledge of Earth. I actually got an app. Apple plus paper? Shit. Apple plus Earth. Trying to get like a teacher here. iPad. I should have seen that. Apple tablet with magazine. I got hookah. I got a genie.
Catholic entry equal Christmas. Add a hurricane and you get some Santa.
What?
I don't know. I'm stuck in a Christmas hole again.
We're getting sushi zombie. Sushi chef. Right. Huh. Got a samurai. Narwhal. Okay. I gotta focus up because I want to win this. Okay. What if I go
You're
for
already winning,
Pokemon?
sucker.
Yeah, but I want to win. I haven't won one yet.
What if I combine Santa Claus with a cigarette?
Combine Santa with Pokemon.
Smoking.
Okay, maybe worthless. I'm gonna try to get to like Eevee and then like reverse engineer a fox. If I do Pokemon and I do fire, I get Charged Pokemon, and water though, that equals Squirtle. Charmander Pokemon plus Earth is grass. I got grass. I don't know what to do with grass. For the grass,
Grass.
I think grass will leave me to like life. I made fire. I made Mega Charizard. I made Mega Charizard X, Mega Charizard Y. These are real things, by the way.
What if I combine wisdom with stuff?
Pichu, no. Raichu, no. Lawnmower. Grass type. Turtwig! I love Turtwig.
What?
Ticket wig. Fuck. Squirtle Master. That's what was they call me in bed. I didn't really get like it's like life a second ago. Grass, lawn. I got a mower. Makes sense. No, I already got a grass type. I got electricity.
Hmm.
Squirtle Master doesn't want to combine with anything apparently because it's too good for that. Fuck Squirtle Master. I made a pipe. How did I do that? Sherlock. Sushi Sherlock. Sushi detective.
Sushi detective.
Charizard Leia.
Wizard! You're a wizard, Harry.
I got apple pie.
Oh, I got
Newton.
a poison apple pie earlier or something like that.
Oh, nice. I got a ghost. With anything with ghosts?
I got Discord.
Halloween. Oh yeah, she's in the My Little Pony. What if I kiss ghosts?
Jesus! I found Jesus!
What?
Wait, what happens
Jesus.
if I combine God and Jesus? Christianity. Okay, makes sense.
I got Van Pikachu. I have the sun. Okay. Wait. No, sun works. Sun is huge, I think. Take the sun and we take the earth. We have a plant. That's okay. A sunflower tree.
I got Sailor Moon!
You got what?
Sailor Moon! Oh my god. I don't know how that happened. How come it's not giving me the connection things? You know what I'm talking about?
No, what?
Where it like connects the words together so you can see like this and this came together and made this. Is that not a thing?
I don't
Oh,
know.
it's just connecting to the background. I see.
Oh.
It's not actually. I get it now.
Batman.
Sailor Jesus Phoenix.
Oh, I found Superman. I get to the Superman hole now that you were in. You're the Justice League. I got a bong. I got a super bong.
I got science. I got technology.
I got a bong.
Space.
Huh. I was already been to
The
warm
final
robot.
frontier.
I hope to God I never make lava again.
All right.
Oh my God, I'm gonna crash out. How do I make a fox or a bunny? How do I get to like little animal?
Tiny
Okay.
creature.
Land, continent, amphibian.
I got a robot. Oh, fuck. Surely if I combine robot with things, I'll get
Keep King Australia.
a droid.
That's
Cyborg.
cut the Tasmanian devil.
Cyborg.
Cyborg. If you could try to get droid, I
I'm
give up on
trying.
droid.
I'm so close.
I got robot, cyborg, AI, artificial intelligence, 18 different fucking Terminators, 3
Robot.
Darth Vaders. Oh my God, it was fucking hell. No.
Tree bot. Okay.
Oh, the flower. Just flower.
That's nice. Transformer. Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah. What? You're just. It doesn't go anywhere past Optimus Prime.
Tesla. Electricity. Ooh.
Oh, a Lotus. Egypt. No, I don't want Egypt.
Cybertron.
Hieroglyph. Papyrus.
Optimus Christ.
What? I made tea.
I have tea also. Tuxedo mask and technology equals Iron Man.
I made the color red.
Oh, let's go.
With wedding. Cherry blossom. Cool. Sakura. I know where I'm going with this.
Cybernetic. Mm-mm-mm.
City. Ice. Igloo. Fuck. Ah. Wait, I have a color. I have red. If I get to orange, I have orange. Orange. Now if I get to like an animal or something. Well, that's a carrot. That's a vegetable. Shit. I can get a bunny. I swear to God, I can get a bunny at this point. Because I have a carrot. Oh, fuck! I have a rabbit.
You got a rabbit? Wait, how'd you get rabbit? What'd you combine?
Uh, I got orange, and I combined it with earth, which gave me a carrot. But it's a rabbit, not a bunny. I'm not giving up till I find a bunny. I found it was just a carrot with rabbit. Oh fuck! That's only 4. Fuck! I have a bunny. Okay. Yeah, I know rainbow can be used to find colors.
No, we're doing best 5 out of 9 or whatever. Or
Yeah.
4. Yeah, 5 out of 9.
First to 5. Yeah,
Electric tea.
lockout bingo type. First to 5. We can do the next one not lockout. Just find things fast.
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Brontosaurus.
Super bunny.
Dinosaur. Kiss. Prince.
Super
Okay.
rabbit. Super carrot. Nope. Bugs Bunny. Let's fucking go. Rain Bunny. Okay. T-shirt, nails, wreath, Jord, burp. I don't feel like burp's a possible one.
Yeah, I don't know.
These are a lot of things, not a lot of action. These are all things. Burp is like an action. Probably should have thought about that.
Man, I'm so close to droid, and it's making me mad.
It's like, don't give up on Droid, man.
I got Cyberman too.
I have Death, and I have River. I got Styx! I got the River Styx. I got
You
Hades.
practically got Stygian.
That's what I'm working towards. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Get out of my house!
No! How do I see if I get any closer than Styx? Okay.
Got another version of Iron Man.
No! Sorry.
Cylon!
I panicked with the word I got.
Terminator! I finally got a Terminator.
I got communist.
Sphinxinator.
I
T-Rex.
just panicked and got rid of it.
So you got communists?
I think if you combine Tea Party with red, you get communist.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Kind of.
It's just. See if I can do anything. Sticks. Left.
Super Angel Man.
What if I take Sticks with Pokemon? Nope, that's a ghost. That's Hades again. Fucking Gengar. Okay. I literally did stop like everything I was doing just so I could get this Stitch somehow. Oh, okay. Where's my colors? There's red. There's orange. Do I have plant? I have plant, right? Do I have like a cloth or clothes? No.
I feel like you should be able to combine stuff with rainbow to get the color out of it. Did you think?
Yeah, you can't. You can try. That's kind of how I did it.
It doesn't work. Look, I tried to put rose with rainbow and you can't combine them.
I think it just all depends on what you combine with rainbow.
I got pineal gland.
I got candy.
Pineal gland.
The
Third.
fuck is
I don't
double
know.
fucking rainbow?
Huh?
I got double rainbow.
Double rainbow. I think gemstones are more likely to give colors. Oh, that's a good point. I don't know what's happening anymore. Everything's unicorn.
Yeah, unicorn really likes to just
Pop up.
exist.
Especially when you combine things with rainbow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Red and orange, right? Thinking colors could somehow lead me to a t-shirt. But I also feel like I need to get like two there. T-shirts and stuff are made of cloth or leather,
Cotton.
which comes from cows. I have cows. I don't have a cow. I could have sworn I had a cow. Oh, I farm, not cow. Just a picture of a cow. Oh, that's bacon. I got ketchup. I got pizza!
I like pizza.
That's what I'm like. Not make bacon pizza.
Telekinesis.
Okay. If I have a farm, can... No, that's just food.
I have therapy.
That's good for you.
You
If you need it.
got a
Yeah,
first discovery? Awesome.
Nice. I
I
think I'm at
haven't
2.
I haven't gotten one yet.
Blood. Farm. Farm plus wood. Pig. No. Farm plus tractor. Just tractor. Should've... I have milk. No.
Milk.
God, how do I get to a cow? What is... Can you stop poking me? I will beat your ass.
Poke!
Such a good boy. I love you. You have food. You have water. You have a bed. What do you want from me? That's all I need. It's a little stink.
Cyberflora. What foods come from cows that are not milk? Well, milk turns into everything else, right?
Yeah, like cheese and beef.
Psycho. Psycho Terminator. Arnold
I have
Schwarzenegger.
tomato ketchup. Maybe I can get to like a burger.
Dear Maria, count me in. Cyber Raptor. What do you do to beef to eat it? You cook it.
Tomato plant.
Add beef with fire. What happens when you add cow with fire at red?
I don't know. I don't have cow.
Fire cow.
Oh, I got cow.
You got what?
I have cow. What do I need cow for again? I got
Leather.
burger. Leather. I got cow for leather.
You made burger.
I made burger.
Burger. I like a burger.
Oh. Hamburger.
Cyber dust.
Cheeseburger. Burger King. Whopper.
Cyber psychosis. Which...
Heart attack. Steak.
There's so many words. There's so many words here now that I don't even know what to combine anymore to make new things.
I know, right? Hey, I got McDonald's. I got a Happy Meal.
What happens if I combine this?
Green meal. Pumpkin. Giant pumpkin. Jack. Gecko. Corn. Rob. Jack-o'-lantern?
Marie, I can't make droid.
I have milk. I would do milk with a rainbow.
Milk.
Milk.
Milk. Are you working together
cheese.
in the bingo? We're going against each other, actually.
This is, in fact, the opposite.
Destruction!
Cheese corn. You got destruction? Cheesecake. Cheese corn cake.
I got cyberpunk!
Nice. Okay.
We're going against each other and I'm losing.
I'm winning.
I'm losing terribly.
What am I doing again? T-shirt, right. So distracted by everything. If I... Destruction a cow. I get beef.
Cyberpunk 2077.
I got it.
Trash.
Taco Bell plus destruction gave me diarrhea.
Whoa. Wait, how did you get Taco Bell?
I destructioned a cow and kept destructioning everything that came out of that.
Oh,
That'd be funny.
destruction everything.
Dude, I'm so fucking tired running. Dead.
Thorn.
Okay, for that, enough of that.
Thorn.
Thorn. Ew.
Thorn.
T-shirt. T-shirt can't be hard. I got decal. That didn't help. I got colors plus cow. Oh, colors plus cow. Have I done colors plus cow yet? Oh shit.
Pink
I
cow.
got a bull. That could help. What is a bull plus destruction? Minotaur. Should have seen that one.
Teddy bear.
Oh, orange plus angry equals Trump. Not what I meant to do there. How about
Oh, that's too
orange
funny
cow?
though.
Soup. Fucking soup. Get out of here. Okay, Minotaur plus orange is juice. What? Minotaur plus red is bull. Angry cow.
Necromancer. Necromancer.
You got rainbow for stuff.
Cyborg is still a robot.
I already had that. Rainbow bull. Unicorn. Fucking unicorn. I'm actually gonna lose my mind.
Computer.
I had that. Okay, I need to get Minotaur. What
Server.
do I have Minotaur on?
Well, you put two servers together, it makes cloud. That's funny.
Ah, I get it. I feel like I had two chimeras. Oh, I had Time Chimera, Mecha Chimera, and Chimera.
Okay, what if I...
I'm gonna cry.
Oh, a good time.
I can't find out how to do any of these. I'm going back to Droid.
I got anonymous! Like the hacker group, anonymous.
Oh. That was like C3PO and shit, right? And R2D2, Darth Vader. What about?
I like that you got droids, but not the word droid.
No, I haven't gotten. Oh yeah, I have the
Like,
R2. I have two R2D2s now, and two C3POs. But
I feel like
what if I could?
UFO and Moon should make Death Star. That's just me.
Okay, Bull, you got to get out of here. Cow route did not work. Did that right? No, that was Iron Man.
Because that's the point, Stygian. That's the point. That's why it's funny. Keep up.
From Megatron, Iron Megatron, Iron Prime, Iron Man Prime.
Oh, I got Gundam.
Nice.
I got Gundam spelled two ways. Gundam Nation.
Get these out of my way. I got Rainbow Dash. Wait, oh, no, I'm about to go on a run.
Keywords are losing for 0. You know what?
Applejack.
Take the
Pinkie
L,
Pie.
bro.
No.
Oh, did you find the did you find the ponies, did you?
I'm working on it. I'm trying to find more. Alright, I got 3 of them ponies. I think I can live with that. I love this fucking song. I don't listen to this song enough. What if I do Roblant plus pink? Rose. Okay, that don't make no sense.
I'm convinced it's not possible to make the word droid.
I made a super Death Star.
Whoa.
Explosion? Thanks. Okay.
Baby shark.
Optimus Pink. Applejack-Miss Prime. Rainbow Jack.
You're on the path of Star Wars? I'm trying. It's not working.
Pinky
When you
butt.
combine baby with things, it turns into hacker for some reason.
What?
I combined shark with hacker and I got fishing. PHIS. That's funny.
Okay, maybe I need to like think. Are there other definitions of droid? Droid. I have chaos. Do I have chaos? Yeah. Is that gambling? Gambling! Gambling robot.
Pterodactyl!
Yeah, that. Well, maybe. No.
I don't think that's a word, but sure.
I got party. I got a rosé.
Ooh.
Okay, I have Tin Man. I found another fucking robot thing.
I got a first discovery!
Okay, what'd you get?
Cybernetic Sailor Electra.
Obviously.
Obviously.
I found Eternity.
Aww.
I'm gonna use it to my advantage.
Cyberfish.
I've found it immortal. Found eternal life. What the fuck? Hey, I found Toilet Sparkle!
Oh, let's go.
And Princess Celestia! Let's go! My Little Pony collection grows for no fucking reason other than I can. Ah, shit, I made Peach. I'm gonna add my little Princess Celeste. If I do Princess Celestia. Oh, there's Princess Luna. I was like, I bet I can get Princess Luna. Princess Luna's plus Chaos. There's Discord. I'm just grinding my little pony. Oh, what if I do Twilight Sparkle plus don't I have Dragon? I do. Spike? Nightmare Mode.
Mount Doom! Oh no, now I'm gonna fall down a Lord of the Rings hole.
Oh. Oh no, I keep grab that one. I'm trying to get Spike and it's just not working. Dragon Princess, no. Rainbow Dragon, no.
Mordor.
That's just Pony. I'm not getting Spike. I don't think Spike's just gonna happen. I got Dragon plus Discord equals chat. It's a little funny.
That is kind of funny. Lord of the Rings.
Rainbow Dash.
Got Lord of the Rings.
I got Baroni.
Brony.
Oh, I got Spike. I don't know how I got Spike. I'm only missing in reality.
Oh, I got C3PO finally.
Fluttershy.
You're gonna speedrun the... Okay, you go for it. I've never played this game before.
There you go. Fine.
Golem!
I'm over here looking for My Little
Hobbit!
Ponies, so.
Sauron. Golem.
Oh, I made God.
Ransom. I don't know how that became ransom, but sure.
Oh, I made an angel. Riches. Control internet. I made the internet.
Frodo.
Okay. Chat Peach. Chat God.
Super Golem, but there's a goat picture for some reason. Super!
I'm missing Fluttershy and Rarity. I don't think I have a diamond or anything. I have.
I've completely lost the point.
That's where I'm at. I'm doing the My Little Pony cast, so you know, I'm on track. I mean, I just don't have like the faintest idea on how to get anything besides Droid, and I can't get Droid.
Yeah, I finally got C-3PO.
Which one?
C-3PO.
No, which C-3PO? I've gotten two.
C-3PO.
Oh, you've gotten that one. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna try for Wreath because fuck it. Chris. That's my start. I think I have a mistletoe actually.
I have that too.
Right. Christmas or mistletoe can't get me anything.
Farmville.
Oh, you know what? Duh. I'm it.
Farmtown. Beanstalk.
Whopper plus Mega Whopper plus Christmas.
Giant beanstalk. Giant. Giant plus giant equals mountain. Did you know?
Not a fucking clue. Okay. I was gonna look wreath. Wreath is an assortment of flowers, leaves, fruits, twigs, and various materials. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna use that to my advantage then. Poinsettia. Okay, wait, I'm getting somewhere.
I had poinsettia too.
Fuck, I didn't get anywhere with it.
Yeah, it got me nowhere also.
Okay. What was the other word? I read berries or some shit. I have vine, right? No, that's just another mistletoe. That's just wine.
Why is everything Jack? Time to press and
poinsettia is the
yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Flowers, leaves. I think I have leaves. Leaf plus mistletoe. Leaf plus Christmas. Leaf. Leaf. I made grape. I bet I can get rainbow. Get the color. Hey, a cat. Jesus. So bad.
Oh.
Buddy, you are my bestest buddy in the whole world. I'm well aware. It's in the whole world. Fuck off.
Mistletoe and rainbow equal unicorn. Okay, sure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Twigs? Do I have? I have like forest or some shit, right? Or do I just have stick? You want to sit in my lap, cat? You can sit in my lap. Stop being annoying. Oh, there's memorial wreaths, like funeral leaves. Wait, I didn't know that. Let me grab death real quick. It's my death. Okay. God, oh, Stitch did get Jordan.
What?
Not sure how. Doesn't know how.
You don't know how? Oh my god.
No help from
Stitch.
chat.
Star Wars! I finally got Star Wars.
That's funny.
Mount
Death
Vader. Darth Vader. Yoda.
Well,
Yoda
that's a
plus Yoda plus Mount Vader. I mean, if you insist. Not like that. Pervert.
Whoa,
Head down.
whoa,
No.
Maple tree, maple forest. Maple syrup pancake.
Bacon pan. Oh, I got the other C3PO.
Dude,
R2D2.
I refuse to believe you got droid. Dude. Fuck. Well, house.
Star Wars.
Oh.
Jedi. Okay.
I don't need two different versions of Treehouse game.
Chewbacca.
Fucking Tarzan.
Wookiee.
Keep dragging shit to like obvious.
Jedi.
Hey, I got Princess Twilight Sparkle.
Nice.
Twilight Dash. That's just a ship. I'm not. Apple Dash. Nope. I ain't.
So bright. Wookiee mistake.
What?
Oh, that's funny. Han Solo. Millennium
Oh.
Falcon.
Oh, I did a chimney. Wait, I'm cooking. I ain't cooking anything. I lied.
Death Star.
Okay, leaf
Tatooine.
ain't worth shit.
Moise Eisley.
Go back to fucking
Cantina.
loud.
Saloon.
No. Pine. Pine plus flower. Pineapple. Should have saw that one coming. Poinsettias have to be something.
Darth Sauron.
Alright, I'm sorry. You gotta go. My pony army there. I'm gonna like cry. I think.
You walk. Muddy Ewok. Muddy Ewok and Cyberpunk equal Jar Jar Binks.
Dirt. I made dirt.
Darth Bear. Sith.
Christmas princess.
Darth Vader and Yoda make Sith for some reason. This is too hard. I can't do it. I'm not smart enough. I'm too stupid.
I just think everything that's left is just too hard.
Everything that should make a droid doesn't. It's dumb.
Ooh, you know what I haven't done? No, I think I did do this. Give me Darth Maul.
I got a first discovery. Cyber Flora Dragon. Of course. A horse, of course.
Oh.
Muddy Sith. Oh no. Why does this exist?
What you got there?
I don't want to talk about it. It makes me sad.
Darth Jar Jar! He's canon.
It's a fucking bullshit. Darth Teddy 3PO.
Did I discover God? I forget. Did discover God. Okay. That one. I found Buddha.
How many words have you discovered?
Like
It says at the
total
bottom
or
in
just
the it says in the bottom in the search.
675.
Oh, you have like 200 more than me almost.
I just started combining shit and pray at times and
That's what I've been doing too.
Buddha. Karma. That's makes sense.
Karma.
Rebirth. Rebirth plus robot. Cyborg. Made Donald Solo. Yep.
Dun, 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 dun. Darth Maul.
Yeah, I just got another Darth Maul. Oh,
Donald Solo.
dark side. I am gonna
Force.
robot. If I do Terminator,
Luke
recycled
Skywalker.
cyborg. I should have seen that coming.
Cybernetic Darth Vader.
Rich Borg. Recycle Borg.
Cyberfishing.
Recyclinator. Shit. And cat. Give you a kiss. Give me a kiss. What if I recycle Elmo?
I got
Nothing.
dump.
Eliminator. Thank you, Elmo. For giving me
dump
the
plus
Eliminator.
dump plus habit equals smelly.
Oh, please. Slumdog Millionaire.
I got fart! That's almost burp! It's just the wrong end.
Can I not?
Okay, maybe if I combine fart with things, I can find burp.
Droid. A term for a robot popularized by Star Wars, often for autonomous machines. Okay, what if I bring out my AI? Because I have AI and like artificial
Bat
intelligence.
Zeppelin, The Force Awakens. What the fuck? I got skunk. What?
No,
I
skunk.
combined skunk with star and I got PewDiePie.
What?
I combined skunk with star and got PewDiePie. Get it? Because skunk is pew.
Oh, AI Terminator. That's no, that's a recycle bin. I didn't need that. Star Trek Wars. Death bin. Black hole.
Time fart.
I get one of my R2D2. Yeah, my R2. Or yeah, I lost my recycle. I'm gonna crash out. I found another C3PO version.
Oh. Fart plus explosion equals fireworks. Darth spoon.
I got a box.
Box.
I got Robux.
I got Mrs. Claus. Cyber Claus.
I have Pandora. I have Curiosity. Singularity.
Needle in a thread, gonna get you out of my head.
Star Knight.
Pineapple fart.
Oh, new first discovery. Star Recycle Knight, obviously.
Oh, yeah, of course. Eureka.
Punk.
Be needing stitches.
Okay.
Ads are over. Welcome back.
Because we're not stopping. This is a race and we're both losing. I don't even know anymore. I don't even know what I'm trying to. Let me robot the
Stink bomb.
Penguin Wars. Oh, that's I could have combined Emperor and Penguin to get Emperor Penguin, but I could have combined like Penguin Wars plus Emperor to get Emperor Penguin. Sure.
Of course.
Cyber Penguin.
Prickly rainbow. Rainbow cactus.
Please give me anything besides C3PO.
No.
Death Duo. Swamp. Okay, that makes sense. Death Solo. What the fuck?
Subscribers! Subscribe!
Subscribe!
It was PewDiePie plus flatulence equals subscribers, apparently.
Checks out, checks out.
In the middle of the night.
Can I death the robot? It's just Terminator.
Cyber Bride. Cyber Odin. Genie.
I'm gonna.
Marriage. Wedding. Celebrity. Murder. Justice. Jurassic Park. Just call my name, I'm yours to blame.
Gambling. Hangover. Ice cream. Oh my god. Frost Giant. Abominable.
There's
Snowman.
surprisingly a lot of things that equal Titanic, which is weird.
You know, I haven't run into those, but I do remember those from a while ago.
YouTube.
Werefrog. Oh no. Darthimus Prime.
I got Easter Bunny.
Jibba.
I got Easter Bunny. Does that count?
What? I already have Bunny.
I thought you had Rabbit.
No, I changed it into Bunny with a carrot again.
Oh, my thing didn't update. That's why. I have to open it and then go back.
I know you can't eat me at a single. You just have to accept my love. I know it's still worse. I
Egg.
know.
Omelet. Chef.
Egg.
Murder. Oh, poison.
Protect the Death Star and recycle the Death Star. It's just the Death Star with more death. Just Darth Vader.
Totes. We've been doing this for 2 hours.
I know. We can't find like the most basic shit. I don't even know how I would get to nails. Wait, nails can be in construction. Wait. I have this. I have this.
Wait, you just gave me an idea.
No. Don't have any ideas.
Yeah.
Shit.
Idea.
No, you shouldn't have ideas. The ideas are dangerous.
Oh, I got evil. Devil. Egg plus evil equals devil.
Yeah, it checks out. I mean, what else would I do?
Well, House and Destruction doesn't give me nails.
That just gives me that again. That. I don't want these. I don't want that. I don't want that. That's. What the fuck is that? I don't even know who you are. Okay, yeah, get out of here. Oh, that's tower. Construction. I got construction.
I got Warlock.
I got the Empire State Building and the Eiffel Tower. And Paris.
I have statue somewhere and it looks like Statue of Liberty.
Go to the bank. Oh, if you take 2 cranes, it becomes a flock. Oh, we got migration. Let's go. Oh, we got a herd. Feed. Discovering random shit that I have no business. Railroad. No. Okay. I have construction. I got crane. I got engine. I can get this. Demolition. That could help. I finally have life. Fuck. Okay, life plus construction is building. Eco. No. Or city. Guys. Go. Tesla Tower. No. Not a stork. God damn it. The crane also being bird is starting to problems.
All right.
Not a nest. If I had life so much earlier, I feel like I could have done so much. I guess this is still going. Dude, I'm so close to finding something.
Red's really close to winning, so we can stop doing this.
Wood? I have wood. I think I already had wood. Wood plus construction is house. No, wood plus building is house. Wood plus crane. Wood plus demolition is fire. What if I recycle fire? I have energy? I have a firefighter. Do that one. I have a wrecking ball.
I got Satan.
Creation. I have creation. Hold on, don't I
Yeah.
have like eternity? If I take eternity and creation, I get universe? I have the universe. T-shirt is harder than it looks. Cotton. Fine. Cotton. That's the word. That's the word I couldn't think
I
of
said it
earlier.
earlier, and you didn't. You're too
Cotton.
busy focusing on leather.
I was focused on leather. Oh, I could have probably done that one a while ago. Play. Okay, hold on. Fuck it. Everything with droid.
Yeah, I still couldn't get a droid. I gave up. Some
No,
of this is just
no.
made up words too. I don't.
Yeah, I'm on nails. Nails are made of metal or something like that, right? Like I have stone.
Yeah, they're made of steel.
That. Moss. Paperweight. It's not it.
Oh my gosh!
Saturn ring. It would explode. Hobbit. I got to the Hobbit. I got Bilbo. Can I kill Bilbo? No. I got the Shire.
Hello! Hi, Giga Rain! Giga Rain!
Wait a minute. Gollum.
Hi,
Small.
everybody! Hi, Giga! Thank you so much for the raid! How was your stream?
I have a Big Bang.
I also have Big Bang. I also have Prison. And when you combine it with art, you get Jail. Embarrassing when you spell it wrong, Giga. Oh, God. It's Rain, Giggles. Giga Rain! Crazy playing some Helldivers just to be crazy this evening. That sounds fun.
Helldiver.
I'm realizing how fucking stupid I feel by playing this game.
I feel incredibly stupid too right now.
Prison Tube!
Prison tube?
You've been carrying them? Let's go.
Nice.
Someone's got to. And it's not me. Prisoner.
I'm gonna throw something. I think my model stopped tracking. I'm gonna throw my model first.
Oh no. Yeet! Prisoner in Star Wars is Jedi.
thing.
Architect does carry. Let's go.
I'm not getting.
So we're doing Infinite Craft Bingo. So on the right side is all the words that we have to try to make, and we're just doing whoever gets to 5 first, and currently Red's beating me. He's all the red squares, and I have 0.
She's all the blue ones.
There aren't any. I'm so close to burp. I have fart, and I can't find burp.
Wait, you got the fart to thing? So burp has to be a thing.
It has to be.
It has to, dude. I feel like I've been so close to.
Wait, I had chef at one point. What happens if I combine chef with fart? I gas. Okay, never mind.
Dude, can I construct life? Can I build a building? Hey. Oh, that's a big bang.
I don't have mouse. So you only get words as you create them, right? So
yeah.
So I have 627 words that I've discovered by combining other words together. And and some of them aren't real, which makes it even harder. They're like fake made up words. Like Death Teddy 3PO. That's not a thing.
Make it a thing.
Darth Teddy 3PO is not a thing.
Renovation.
Satan.
Evolution. Revolution. Graffiti. Death. What do I life grave? Do I get zombie?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I combined a skunk with something and I got PewDiePie. The YouTuber.
What if I take Jar Jar Binks and recycle his ass, Darth Vader?
Dinosaur. Alright, let me take this and I go all the way back to the top. And combine it with things. What happens? Fish. Okay. Fish with earth.
Dude, I feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm so close to nails. I just don't know how to get to nails. What if I take a mountain and blow it up? Right?
Ship. Pepe Le Pew turned into PewDiePie? Yes. That is what happened. That's the first thing I thought too, Stage. I was like, oh, skunk pew? I get it. It's funny. Uh-huh. Pirate. Captain. You have them all except burp? Oh. Well, aren't you just a smarty pants? I don't understand. There's no, like, real logic behind this game. I think that's why it's fucking me up so bad.
But then there's like, I call it, it's like half logic.
Because sometimes it's like, you've been playing for a while? Yeah, this is my first time ever even looking at this. But it's like, sometimes you combine 2 words together and it makes a completely new word. And then sometimes, you got burnt? God damn it. But sometimes you combine 2 words together and you get something completely new. And then sometimes you combine 2 words together and it just smashes the words together into a new word. It makes 0 sense whatsoever. It's so confusing. I don't understand the logic behind the game. Picasso is an art pirate, apparently. Picasso fish. Okay. Picasso rainbow. Will I get blue? Oh, alright. In your recipe,
I'm gonna throw shit.
Oh, how you made burp? But I'm saying that's how the whole game is.
Yeah, I feel like I just have to just
It
stop
makes
trying to
some sense
think.
when you have a term, you have to think of it as every context at once, and the other term you combine closes the possibility. But not always. Because sometimes it just smushes the two words together to make a made up word that doesn't real. So, like, it's not always like that. You know what I mean? It's just, it's kind of infuriating. It's kind of stupid. It makes me upset. It makes me feel stupid. Painter. Yeah, the made up ones are just the way the game didn't know. Yeah. But I thought then it would just be like it can't combine them. Because sometimes it does that too, you know? It's hard, and I'm stupid.
I want to explode.
Kaboom. Fishing. I got fishing.
Wrong.
Most times it combines. Yeah. What happens if I combine fishing with fart? Bait.
How do I get to a metal? Like an iron.
Something with rock. Probably. I don't know. Fire. Something with
It's
fire.
always lava. Anything with fire just makes fucking volcano. Fucking everything makes fucking volcano.
Fisherman. I'll tell you how I made burp after game over. Oh, okay. If it's two words I have, I'm gonna be upset.
Tunnel? If I put a tunnel in a mountain, a road. Yeah, it's not a tunnel I wanted.
Stinky fish. Stinky fish. Stinky fish. Chef. Sushi. Adult. Sumo. Bonsai. Bonsai and reindeer make Christmas tree. Okay. Elf. I got an elf.
I've given up on nails. I'm gonna try shirt again. I have a farm. I have a plant. What do I need for that? Revolution and plant. Hold on. Tree. Okay. I was trying to get to like some crazy shit there.
Running a
The
Taco
French
John's.
Revolution.
I want tacos.
I got a
Bar.
guillotine.
Pub.
I got France.
I got pub.
France. I got Napoleon. History.
Bar. Jail. You made druid, but not droid. Aw. That's funny.
I made democracy.
Oh. You know when you don't have his wreath? That one's really hard. They're all really hard. They're all hard.
Dude, I feel like my brain just has given up with the logic route, and I just don't even want to think anymore. I was like, oh my god, I'll invite Chi to do a word game because I word so fucking well. Fucking should have invited Chi to do fucking math. That way I could fucking for ass.
You're already winning. Stop.
You got the same words too. We're at the same point. You just got there like a second later.
I mean, kinda.
Well, I think the only one you haven't gotten is Fox or Bunny, but I feel like if you spent 3 seconds, you could get them.
I don't know. I can't get any other. The only land animal I've gotten is skunk. That's even close. I don't know how to get any colors.
Shades to do with Fox of coffee printing with seeds yielding oil and animal feed also centered upon it.
Everything combined with skunk just makes something
Oil?
smelly. Weed.
Don't have boil. If you combine water and fire, it makes fucking
Bong.
steam. Or fire. It's an
Oh,
engine.
Skunk and Star is what made PewDiePie. That's right. I remember. Skunk. Pepe Le Pew.
I feel like there was
Stinky! Like red.
What? No. I have Cinder.
I got Pepe. And the little pictures of Frog. Oh no.
It was Dust. I think Dust unlocks a lot of shit for some reason, and I don't remember why I think that.
I have Dust.
I'm trying to see what Dust
I have
can lead me to.
Cyber Dust.
Yeah, for some reason, Dust actually like opens the world to a lot of things, and I don't exactly know why. Moses, plague, epidemic, disease, allergy. Dude, why is sneeze? Dust is just so strong for some reason. I like, kind of forgot about it being so strong. Abracadabra. Rainbow dust.
Cleaning.
Dust bunny. Darth vacuum.
Darth Vacuum.
Kind of vinegar. Doesn't do shit.
Perfume. Pony. Centaur. Skeleton.
Cut dust talks to Pokemon. Corlox? What the fuck? Sharktini. Go.
Cupid.
Yeah, what the fuck? I've just been throwing dust on shit.
I
Just like,
started doing it too because you said something.
and like, I've discovered so much shit because of dust. Like, it just shouldn't even make sense what shit I've discovered because I got just throwing dust on shit. Clean death. Oh, lost my dust.
I have 666 items.
I have 815.
That's crazy. You still have like 200 more than me.
Darth Car. Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Darth Data. Dark Data. Dark Matter? Wait, yo. Cybertruck. I got Cybertruck.
I could mind. Okay. I got to sneeze. I'm getting closer to things you do with your face. I'm almost to burp. You got them all now? Good job. You're the winner.
I'm just doing time travel and shit and see how it works.
Winner.
Darth Blastoise. What if I time travel Pangea? Earth. Right, should have figured. God, T-Rex.
Snap.
What was I doing again?
I don't know. Booger. Hay fever.
I got hair. I got the Powerpuff Girls.
Let's go! Did you combine sugar and spice and everything nice?
No.
You got this. You're a pro. Don't patronize me. No, you can't
First
help
discovery,
that would be
Gengar Rabbit.
Gengar Rabbit. It's a new Pokemon.
Pegasus. Fire. Popcorn.
I got to sneeze. I feel like that's
Popcorn
close.
Girls?
Let's just fart. I combined fart with something and I got to sneeze somehow. I think I'm gonna give it a go. This reminds me that it can be fun and frustrating at the same time. Yeah, right? There are whole spreadsheets that people have collaborated on single topics, for example, bird species. Oh, really? Wait, that's so crazy.
I remember when they were trying to find a country, and there was just one country that just could not find. That was forever ago, though. Okay, where's my life? Where's my life? This is my life. Prison, jail, prisoner, escape. Okay, so now prisoner is something I can probably work with. And I'll take recycle. Oh no, my recycle.
Sailor Moon! Sailor Dust! Unite!
Sailor Dust.
The biggest one I've been part of is the Unicode one. Every symbol and emoji besides a few, because the game uses those for functions. They mostly
I got Tutankhamun.
the constellations with a few others. I think I also have Tutankhamun somewhere.
We both got King Tut.
Yeah, I have Tutankhamun.
Tutankhamun. I'm so fucking just distracted just doing anything else besides what I'm supposed to do. Gundam Mummy.
You got that Tutankhamun. It's true.
I've forgotten AT-AT now. What the fuck?
AT-AT?
Dragon shit until something happens. Nice. Zombie Yoda.
Soup.
Death NATO. Okay. If I got Amazon, what if I think I have the right? And the Kindle chat, alright? Statue. I have Venus.
Venus de Milo.
I have a color. I have another color.
Well, I have sneeze now, so I feel like I'm closer to burp. I don't know. Now I'm just combining stuff with... Oh my god, David. Michelangelo. Prison. Sistine Chapel. That's funny. Fish plus fire equals sushi. Yep, that tracks. I did stinky fish plus chef to get sushi.
I think I was fish and fire.
I got barf! That's almost a burp!
Dude, stop giving me fucking volcano and lava! Rye.
Sneeze is nose, but I just got barf, so somehow it worked. I'm closer. I'm a little closer to burp. You burp from? Yeah. I only have like soup for foods and sushi.
I have a chef.
I have a chef also.
Okay, wait. I have a farm. I have a farmer. I have a plant.
See, I have booze.
Food. It just gives me food every time. I don't want food.
I have sushi. That's poison. What if I take barf and I blow it up? Vomit. Okay, that tracks. That's kind of funny.
I found gay.
Oh, love to see it. I have bar and pub. Those make fizzy drinks. I have omelet. I have egg. Eggs make you gassy. So what if I combine... Okay. Food with people or baby.
Cowboy.
Where's a baby? If I had baby in milk, you'd probably get burp.
And sure.
Red, do you have baby in milk?
No, I just have milk.
You don't have baby? Oh.
No. Dude, I did not get any people. Like, at all.
I have farm. How do I get a cow from a farm?
The quesadilla, though.
Wow.
Yeah. I reverse engineered dust.
Tractor. Tank. Tank
Rat.
destroyer.
Ratatouille. Rat boy. Sandwich. Sandwich.
Farm.
Lunch.
Child. Farm.
Love. Cowgirl.
Farm.
Cowboy plus cowgirl. Rodeo.
No.
Damn right it is.
Farm. I don't have beef.
I have a computer now. What the fuck? Milkshake.
Chicken. I have chicken. Egg. Okay.
Mouse pad. Server.
Chicken. Oops. I
I
don't have cook, but I have a chef.
found milking machine.
Everything with chef is egg for some reason.
Double rainbow milk.
Double rainbow. Burb.
Dude, I swear to God, I'm so tired of running into fucking unicorn and rainbow and lava and shit.
Damn. Maybe a fire? Oh. I didn't think about fire. You're right.
I made a Roomba.
You right.
I got milking Roomba first discovery.
Dinner. I have dinner. I like dinner.
Greek Roomba, another first discovery right after.
When's the recommended dinner with water? Soup. Okay.
Mousetrap. Marriage.
Marriage is a mousetrap.
Whatever worse. Hate.
Titanic plus water equals iceberg.
War.
I honestly kind of hoped it would be something like that, right?
We get it back to Amazon. Dairy farm.
Roast. I bet milk plus baby equals burp. I have baby, but I don't have milk, and I can't get a cow. I don't know how.
I'm trying to think of how I got cow.
I have farm.
Yeah. I started from farm to get cow somehow. Hold on, let me scroll down and find my cow. How did I get cow? Oh, I got barbecue tomato plant.
Oh, apparently farm plus dinner equals pig.
Pig, yeah.
Bacon!
Pig.
I got bacon!
Yeah. Pig. Combinations with pig and farm, I think, ended up leading me somewhere to get the barbecue. Ugh.
If I combine bacon with eggs, do I get breakfast? I do! Let's go!
Do you have explosion or some shit?
I do, I think. Yeah.
Can you explode pig?
Explode pig.
Yeah, I feel like that gave me something. I don't remember why.
Pig. Bacon.
Bacon. Oh. I tried.
Supper.
Supper. I didn't even see supper. I went through all the fucking stuff over there.
I just put two dinners together and I made supper.
Oh. I have not even seen dinner. I got lunch.
I got harvest.
Mermaid plus plant. Seaweed. Just seen that one coming. Raft. Flat. Just flat. What the fuck?
Fish.
King plus Merlin. Wizard Tower. Is it about let's go. Iron Patty. Hey, I got iceberg. Tokyo Drift.
I just want to get cow. I want a cow.
James Otaku.
Otaku.
I do just have Otaku. Weeb. I got hentai.
Oh, let's go!
I got James hentai. It's an eggplant. I don't know what's going on there. Hentai plus Pokemon Pikachu. No, I thought it'd be funnier, like Vaporeon or some shit. I found harem. Harem hentai. Aw.
Farm plus dust equals dust bowl. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, I've gotten so many dust bowls.
That's crazy though.
Tsunade. Naruto. Oh, I just have Naruto.
I did that already.
I don't know what that is. Don't know what I just saw.
Horse. Chariot.
Snow Woman.
Chariot plus chariot equals tank, apparently. Okay. Well.
Sasuke!
Sasuke! Unicorn plus farm equals rainbow. Okay. Sure.
Fuck doesn't equal rainbow.
Alright. I can't figure out how to get cow.
Dude, I got this first 4. The last point I got was like an hour ago. And just something about these next ones, I just cannot get anything.
Farmhouse.
I remember last time.
Barn! I got barn!
Having like a lot of heaven and hell.
Forgot about barn.
Angel. Have I got an angel at all?
Barn.
I do have angel. Okay, I think I can work from there. Okay, that didn't work. Death for the angel? The Reaper. Grim Reaper, no. The soul? Not heartbreak.
Fire, bacon. Crispy.
Angel plus fire. Was that what made Phoenix? That's not. Seraph. Cherub.
Pork. Pig City. Pigopolis.
Will. Freedom. Liberty. Slavery!
Oh, God.
Okay. I think I can get to cotton to get to t-shirt from here, but I'm just gonna have
Oh, Jesus! Oh, Jesus! Combine it with farm.
Oh, look, there's cotton! That took 1 combo!
Did you combine it with farm by chance?
I did it with plant.
Oh, okay.
No, but slavery plus farm makes plantation!
Oh, God.
That's on you!
That's terrible!
You asked!
I got apple pie. I already had that. Farm.
Okay, I have cotton now. Oh my god, slavery took me so long. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of looking for it because I knew I could get there.
That's terrible. That's terrible. That's where mine went.
That's all I could think of.
The worst people on the planet.
I was trying everything I had. Flag, no. Sweater. Dollar. Okay, sweater's close. That's yarn. That's...
Tank destroyer.
Santa. Fucking Santa, get out of here.
Santa, what you doing here? You don't belong here. Fucking Santa.
I have so many fucking colors now. Awesome, actually. I've got pirate. I got 2.
Why can't I get cow?
Pink Floyd. The Wall. No, Stidge, I'm almost there, Stidge.
Red did something bad, Stidge.
Look, it got cotton, okay? It got cotton. I don't want to talk about it.
Red got to cotton. Now you need to find sew and combine it with cotton. Maybe start with grandma.
Cotton. That's sweater.
Are you serious? That's the only way you found it too? That's fucking terrible. There should be other ways for them to get to that.
That's why I just needed to get to like life and shit. And I remember I had Angel. I was like, oh, I can. Once I remember I had Angel, I could.
I wonder what Cthulhu sushi tastes like. I feel like you should be able to combine tree with farm to get cotton. Or cloud with tree.
Cotton.
I have cloud. What happens if I combine cloud with tree?
Where am I? Snot. I got snot.
I have snot also. Rain. Cloud and tree should not equal rain. There probably is.
I got booger. I got blood.
Cloud wood. No. Why would that be rain? That doesn't make sense. Clouds and wood don't make rain.
I got clothes. Fuck, I got clothes.
Oh no, you're so close.
Let me get rid of these. Okay. I feel like I could probably use blood, cotton, sweater, clothes, dust. Clothes plus sweater. Clothes plus fashion? No. Blood. Oh, I got Twilight. There we are.
Olive tree. Olive grove.
Banana.
Olive orchard.
Carrot.
Okay.
Leaf.
Olive oil.
Dress. Doll. No. Ragdoll. No.
Scarf. Fried chicken.
Wedding.
I got fried chicken. The way you got cotton is very simple. Oh.
Yeah, I went with slavery.
Yes, Red, we know. They were saying there was other ways to get there.
That's great for them. I didn't get there. It's just
sandwich.
Rag? No. Patch? No. I got sweatshirt. Okay, now I gotta try like sweatshirt with shit.
The way you got it very early on. Oh, that's weird. Sandwich. Nope.
Juice. No. Green. Hulk. No, I don't want
Sandwich.
Hulk. Banana, right? Fucking Santa, dude.
Lunch.
I have a hoodie. Wait. Here it comes. Fuck, it was Santa. I had red
Sandwich
and
and boat.
I was gonna put red and hoodie right next to each other over here.
Sandwich.
I know. Now my hoodie, I lost it. That was 3 seconds. God damn it.
And boat. Sandwich and boat. Submarine. That makes sense.
Okay.
And picnic and submarine make sandwich.
Cycle? Well, that's yarn. The yarn. Cat, I love you, but I'm so close. You're gonna have to heck off. What the fuck? A sweater dress? God damn it.
Why did groom plus sandwich equals? No, a sandwich submarine? Well, shut up, Stitch. That's not the thing. Submarine plus sandwich? I don't think it did anything.
Thread? Okay. Thread with pink. Cotton candy? No. Carrot again. Cat, please.
Oh, sub. Oh, like a subway. But also a type of sandwich.
Cat, I'm gonna beat your little kitty ass. You're gonna die. That's it. You're gonna die. Dead. Karate chopped it.
Subscribers. Dude, YouTuber.
I found like every other fucking article of clothing out there, and I have yet to find fucking t-shirt.
Diving board. High dive.
Cliff. Sweater neck.
Mountain. Okay.
Sweater vest.
Yogi. Alright, what if...
Sweaterverse.
2 different ways to make t-shirt, and neither of them make any sense. Oh, okay. Well... I feel like I keep getting very close to things,
China. I don't
and then I lose it.
China.
Oh my gosh! Woo!
You're gonna see us 3 hours into this fucking race, and we're still not done. God, Fergie and everyone. Hi, welcome into pain and suffering. Emphasis on the pain and the suffering.
Why does sandwich and dream make nightmare? That doesn't make sense.
Maybe.
Do you enjoy pain and
Sweater
suffering?
dress vest? That's not a thing. I'm just not at a thing now. I've made magenta. Hold on, I got a new color. Hold on.
Fart witch. What is this game? What is this game? Emotional damage. I combined sandwich.
Dude, one fucking combination of fuck ass words.
Hi, Bergie. No, I put together sandwich and fart, and I got fart witch.
Nice.
Another example of where they just smush the words together to make a made-up word.
Thread plus cotton is cloth. Cloth! Clothes. Fuck. Clothes. Model? No. Yarn plus clothes.
What happens if I set my sandwich on fire? Toast! Wait, I'm just gonna set everything on fire.
Cloth plus cloth is 10.
What if
I
I
actually
just start
combine the words with themselves?
Burnt toast! Oh, I do that all the... I do that all the... Every time I discover a new word, I combine it with it, and I get more words.
I have a blanket. I have a cat.
For some reason, rock and stone make... Or sandwich and rock make stone. I have all kinds of batshit ramen flavors right now because of that. Oh, man. Soup.
Okay,
What if I take soup and I set it on fire? Chili. Chili sandwich. They don't go together. Okay. Chili pepper.
My cotton.
Hot dog. What? Chili pepper and sandwich make hot dog?
Obviously.
What? No. What? No. That's so wrong on so many different levels.
I made lemonade. I made a lemonade stand. Oh my gosh.
What?
Oh, I didn't shout out. Fucking.
What?
Perky got the shout out.
What?
Good
What?
job, Perky.
Did anybody else see that? Did anybody else see what just happened?
What happened? I think my phone died. My phone died while watching you.
What? What? I put adult with hot dog, and I got cannibal.
Well.
How? We didn't say it was a human hot dog. I assumed it was a regular, normal hot dog.
Fuck! That's so close! I have shirt.
Ah.
Now I got t-shirt. Fuck! Finally!
Cannibal plus lunch equals dinner. Date. Aww. Date plus date equals fruit.
I've done it.
Wait, you got t-shirt?
I've done the impossible. I swear to God. Apparently, I never combined cotton and clothes. I thought I did that, and I just didn't do that.
Wait, so you combined cotton and clothes, and you got t-shirt?
No, I got shirt, but I recycled it for t-shirt. Some words are magical, like recycle or death or reverse.
I have Death Star. I never got death though.
Not how you got it. I had cotton clothes and I never combined them this whole time. I thought I did. I can't believe I didn't. I feel so dumb. Ah! Ah!
Cotton with island?
And let's remember, I never would have gotten to cotton with kidding. Gonna like say it.
Wait, where did
Cotton with island? Okay, hold on.
where did Vixen go? Vixen! Yeah, he got t-shirt. I want to know how Vixen got cotton a different way.
Cotton and island also give t-shirt? What the fuck?
I mean, it kind of makes sense, I guess.
Mine made a little bit more sense. I had clothes, but what the fuck? I'm a winner!
Yeah, you can.
I'm a winner!
Yes, red wins. I got 0.
I don't feel like a winner.
Oh, I was on. Cloud is okay. I was on the right track. I said Cloud to get cotton. Yeah.
Cloud? Fuck.
Cloud is one part. Okay, what's the other part?
I wonder if I even have the other part.
You mixed pizza and burger? Oh, you mixed 2 foods together.
Oh, I haven't had many. I got foods at one point, but I moved on. I didn't really think. I didn't even try for burp at any point.
I have hot dog. I combined hot dog with adult and got cannibal.
Wait, what was it?
Plant plus wind equals dandelion.
Regular burger. Oh, I do have regular. Oh, it's regular burger, not hamburger. So.
Oh, seed plus. Okay, did you see what they got?
Plant plus wind equals dandelion. And plus wind equals seed. I had seed plus cloud. Okay, I understand. I never would have tried that for.
I was doing. I tried cloud plus tree because I feel like that should make a cottonwood tree, right?
That makes sense in my brain.
But that's not what happens, though.
Nope. No, there's so much shit you try and you're like, that makes sense. And then you just randomly throw together. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like just now, cloud and hot dog make rainbow.
Rainbow's crazy.
Rainbow is crazy.
God, I'm never being seed. I had
that
seed
makes sense.
on my what was it plant? I don't know. I got to slavery and it worked.
Why they use slavery? Jesus Christ, Stitch. What the fuck? You guys are terrible.
Not terrible. We just know history. Okay.
I know, but also,
if you don't remember, you're bound to repeat it or some shit. Round 2?
Fuck no. So I can feel more stupid.
How many words did you make by the end?
732.
I made 1017.
Jesus Christ. So you ended up being like 300 words. I only got 2 first discoveries.
Oh, I had 6. Minecraft bingo? Maybe another day. Not today.
Wait, Minecraft bingo.
Minecraft bingo.
Oh, we have to have a server to do that, though.
No, we'll just use that one mod that allows us to like connect to each other.
Right. Oh, I got you. We could plan to do that some other time.
That's another day goal. Not today.
Essential mod, yeah. That's the one Stitch used.
There was just a Minecraft bingo server that the one people I left that server though. I don't have access to that server anymore.
Oh.
But
yeah,
we just have
there's a mod for it probably or a plugin.
You can just use Bingo Sync though. Bingo Sync has a bunch of shit and custom shit.
Oh, that's cool.
Like it has a lot of prompts if you want to have a different game.
How you got burp? Yeah, tell me how you got burp.
Fucking burp.
Stitch said he combined burger and pizza and got burp.
Burger and pizza. Not hamburger and pizza. That doesn't work. Just regular burger. Because
you have hamburger?
Because why? I have hamburger, I had cheeseburger, I had burger, I had veggie super mega burger or some shit.
I still want to know if milk plus baby equals burp, because I feel like it should. I went to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory to the fizzy lifting drink to burp. What the heck?
Whoa! I never saw Charlie and Chocolate. I don't even know how you get fucking chocolate.
Cocoa beans.
What the fuck do you get cocoa beans from?
I don't know, but that's how you would get there eventually.
I feel like island. No, not island. It's go like cocoa beans are what from like Brazil or some shit.
Yeah, like from the jungle. That's why they grow in the jungle in Minecraft.
If I go
Halloween to
Amazon,
candy and sugar. Oh, okay.
oh, I did have.
Wait, I have
candy.
Halloween.
I did have Halloween. Oh, Amazon and continent America. Wrong one. U.S. America. No, that's North America. Can I recycle it and make South America? I'm gonna get to it my way. I got Canada. Fuck.
Milk and candy make chocolate. Oh, I got chocolate from Candy and Earth.
I think I have candy, or yeah, I've been had candy.
Wait, how did you get candy?
I don't fucking know. It was like an hour ago. I was just doing shit, Chi. I like chocolate.
Oh, there's
Hello.
candy. I got candy. I still can't get milk though because I don't have a cow. How the hell do I get a cow? I really want to get milk. How do I get a cow? Somebody tell me how to get cow. I have a farm. Cow is also easy. Says you.
I got the cow.
Farm plus fire equals cow? How does that equal cow? That doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever.
Is that how I got barbecue? Oh, I got barbecue somehow. That's how I got barbecue. Was farm plus fire.
Wait, that's barbecue. That's not cow.
Yeah, but then from barbecue you can turn it cow.
Oh, farm barbecue. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, bull. Ox. Cow. Cow.
Yeah,
Beef.
now I know how
Wait,
to,
how
like,
do I
use
get
it.
milk? Now I need how to get milk. Do I need a bucket? I don't have a bucket.
I can bingo anything and make competitions with my friends. Friendly competitions.
Oh, cow and
with my
water? That
friends.
makes sense.
That's never this fucking game again. Actually, I really enjoy this game. This game is really fun.
It's
But, like,
fun. I just get frustrated because it makes no sense.
I feel like we chose some stupid ass words to find. Our word deciding choice was we said shit and then we got some holiday shit and she burped at some point. So I wrote down burp.
Okay, that's stupid. Baby plus milk should equal burp because that's what happens after a baby drinks milk.
Oh wait, what was baby and milk?
Infant.
I mean, that makes sense though.
No, it doesn't.
It,
It makes no sense at all. A baby and an infant are the same. A baby is an infant. They're the same.
I'm sorry, it makes no sense. Stupid fucking game, honestly.
Yeah. Thank you. This game is great for my ADHD. This is the problem. I also have ADHD, but I also have a little bit of OCD, and I think that's why this game fucks with me so much.
I'm scared to go to a doctor and find out all the things I have.
Oh, I have an alphabet soup of mental disorders.
That's what I'm afraid to find out. I'm like, I just don't need it. I don't need it.
Well, first they diagnosed me with depression and anxiety, and then I had even more therapy, and they're like, yeah, it's probably more likely that you have ADHD and maybe a little bit of OCD mixed in there. I'm like, great, that's awesome. Two completely conflicting disorders. People often add context that isn't in the terms, or to remember it's an AI trying its best. Oh, it's an AI? I didn't realize it was an AI-based game. I thought it was all programmed. Like...
Oh, no. There's no way.
Because there's so many words. Yeah.
If you click top left Neil.fun, it'll take you to, like, all the made, and it's, like, a whole bunch of crazy shit and a lot of cool shit.
Ooh.
The password game is just as painful. The I'm not a robot, that's a CAPTCHA. That's just a million CAPTCHA. Stupidity.
Super early one, they were testing out language models with it. I see. That makes sense. But sometimes it's just like, yeah,
Oh, we did
it won't combine two things.
Okay, hold on. Okay. What? Ah!
Internet road trip. What's that?
I don't know. I'm doing the draw a perfect circle real quick. I've gotten a few above 90, but I realize it's kind of like
Let's settle this. Internet debates have raged for too long. It's time to settle the big questions so we can
the
move
fact
on.
that works. So dumb. Too slow. Oh yeah. You have to make a perfect circle around this.
Perfect circle? Oh.
Yeah, you have
I've
to
seen other
make
people
it
do this.
around the circle, and it has to be perfect. I'm just kind of playing with it now to see how it judges. I've gotten a few over 90, but
Oh,
I
too
don't know.
close.
Click
Too
on
close.
I click on people in video games. That's in fucking Minecraft. Okay. Shit.
Look at my beautiful circle.
If you like make a cube, you can still get pretty fucking high, which is a
Are
little
you
something
serious?
different. Yeah, I've gotten a cube at like 85%.
Oops.
At 84.8%, I made a square.
87.
Like,
With my mouse.
oh,
94.
oh man. 87.2. 93.8 is my best circle so far, apparently.
Mine is 94.1.
Damn.
95!
How the
You can get whole sentences from Infinite Craft. Yeah, I was getting a bunch that didn't make any sense.
94.1. Okay. Nope.
Anyway.
That was like my best one yet. How is that below 90? What the fuck off?
It doesn't like you.
Fucking cubes go fucking better than this. Jeez. The fact that cubes are giving me like 87 are fucking pissing me off. $94.3.
Not gonna be able to do it again. It's too hard with my mouse.
I give up.
I win. I got a 95.
You win.
I win! I beat Reddit something! It's a miracle!
You can win making a circle. I'll win bullshitting words.
I totally didn't go to art school for 2 years or nothing.
So you were cheating.
No, I'm just talented.
Okay, damn, fuck. Peanut.
I can't do it again though, I'm pretty sure.
The digits in the password add up 5. Right? Not how this works. 5. Does that work? Right?
What?
So I'm trying to make a password. Penis.
Penis?
Penis. I have no idea, but
Just get out my tablet and draw a circle. That'd be cheating.
what? Does it not count those? Okay. What the fuck? Okay. That's it. I mean,
All right.
we.
I gotta get off here. I gotta get off here.
You gotta go.
Yeah, I have to work in the morning. Just super stinky. Super stinky. Super stinky. Oh, thank you, Stitch. I ran out of soda, so now I have to drink water. Jeez.
Ew. Water.
Are you gonna keep streaming?
Probably shouldn't. I almost fell asleep at work today.
Oh,
Very
no.
dangerous, by the way.
I have to wait.
was just.
I have to wait 3 minutes because I have ads now.
Oh. There's crazy. I was just standing there. Oops. Doing my job right next to the big ass machine, right next to the giant ass dryer of 800 degrees of death.
Uh-huh.
And I think I just fell asleep standing up. It was fucking crazy. I was like, nap time.
Should we raid radar?
Dar? Good.
Yeah.
Good Dar.
We can do Dar or Smog is live.
That Smog has been fucking playing.
What?
Past.
You're breaking up. What?
I was trying to think. I haven't gotten Dar in a minute. I hung out with
Okay.
Smog a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Get Dar. Lick his booty hole or some shit.
We've been yawning since 9:30, but I'm glad I was able to join it. I'm glad you were able to join too. I've been yawning since I got up this morning.
I fell asleep while working and standing up, so.
Yikes.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what that was all about. It was bad.
Well, you know what? Buckle your pants!
Oh, I need to buckle your pants.
Buckle your pants.
I'm ready.
Buckle your pants. Buckle your pants. You're gonna what to Dar? We're gonna raid him.
I said something else.
You were up all night and had a big night. You said something else? What'd you say?
Something about looking at his asshole, I think.
What the fuck? That's actually crazy.
Get out of
there. If you're a subby, you're gonna use the first raid call. If you're not a subby, you're gonna use the Nemo Pops raid call. Pop, 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 pop. Pop, pop, pop. Raid. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna go raid Dar. That was fun. Even though it made me feel really dumb.
I was losing it. I was literally just sitting there a few times, just like hands on face.
Like after a while I was like, so much for that computer science degree. Oh shit. Alright everybody, we're gonna go say hi to Dar. Use the raid calls. Be good. Have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. I love you so much. Goodbye. Get the fuck out. Sleepy time. Bye.